I want to this should be Aliyah Neshama for Elisheva Bas Avrohom, who is Niteris. I couldn't go to the Levaya. It was in Staten Island. She was sick for many years. She should be a good Tibetan for all of us and for all of Israel.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, absolutely. The Ilui Nishmata. Yeah. Okay. We are on Pesach, right?
Yep.
And if you want, we can still have a shiur next week and play it by ear. You say when you want to stop. So just tell me, you want a shiur next week?
I'm okay with it.
Brenda?
I would like I would come Be'ezrat Hashem.
Miriam?
Yes.
Miriam?
I'm just looking at my calendar.
Thank you.
At my calendar. 1 minute.
Miriam, I'm so sorry for last week, but it was because of Purim and everything. I don't even remember.
Okay.
I knew that you wanted to come. I know. I'm
yes,
sorry.
I did. Okay.
Once to have your number, and I don't remember why I didn't reach you.
Okay, I can come. I can come next week, Mitzvah Hashem. It would be nice next week.
So we'll do next week, and then we'll see. It could be we'll stop or whatever. Okay.
Right.
Did we do what I want always to do every year because I like it so much? Did we do the Seder? The Seder of the Seder. In other words, I think that's where we were up to. I just began and I said Kadesh, and I told you about the fact that it's a Kiddush and that it's the first of the Arba Kosot, and we said when the Arba Kosot are, and we said that one of the reasons why Arba is, the number Arba is all over in the Haggadah, and it's because of the 4 languages of salvation, V'hotzeti, V'hitzalti, V'galti, V'lakachti. It's in different psukim. It's not that one after the other, it's different psukim, but it's different levels of salvation, of liberation, and of course it's physical and it's spiritual as well. We spoke a lot about it. And then I told you about the dream of the how do you call him? the guy that gives to drink to Paro. Excuse me 1 second.
The butler, the wine butler.
The butler is Yosef, who is sensitive to everybody. It's unbelievable. He is capable to see that the butler and the baker are in bad shape, and he asks them what's the matter. And here you have 2 prost goyim, and in spite of it, he wants to help the whole world. He's really capable to be the head of not just the Yidden, but of a country of horrible culture and horrible everything, and to turn it towards that it should be good for the Yidden as well, while being good for the Goyim as well, and trying to make them better. So in the dream and in the explanation of the dream by Yosef, we have 4 times the word kos, which is one of the reasons why we remind ourselves with the Arba Koises, okay? And we spoke about the fact that between the 3rd and the 4th kos, we don't make a hefsek, because nothing is more dangerous than to get freedom for nothing. If we get freedom to become the servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's one thing, and to understand what it is all about, yes. But if it's to become free and become hippies, then it's not good. That's why between the 3rd kos, which is V'hotzeti, V'hitzalti, V'ga'alti, which are 3 expressions of salvation, we don't make a stop till V'lakachti, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is lokeach us under his wing, and in order that we should do the purpose of the world, which is morality, which is Torah, etc., etc. So that we had done for Kadesh. And then I told you that, of course, we know what it means. Rechatz is something which in the olden times, mamash almost everywhere, only the head of the family was receiving a chisel and a kli to wash the hands, and the rest of the people would sitting on their place. And nowadays, we became more knowledgeable and realized it's very, very interesting. and hello everybody, and realized that there is an idea which is kedai to everybody to wash their hands. But the Rosh, the head of the family, the one that is conducting the Seder, he doesn't move, he stays in his place. Most of the other people get up and wash. Why? Because there is a halacha, which is not done enough everywhere, which is that when you eat something which is dipped in one of the 7 liquids, which at the time of the Beit HaMikdash were conducting, like electricity, conductors of tumah, then you had to wash your hands. But nowadays we don't have this because we're all tomeh, but we still wash the hands. In other words, if I have cake, which is very old, but it's still good, but it's dry, and like a lot of people do, they dip it in a cup of coffee. So there is an Indian to wash the hands without a brocha before. Very interesting, because the real halacha is if you touch it. And if you dip only the end of the cake, and the part of the cake that you have is not wet, then it could be you don't have to. And that's why in olden times, only the head of the family who is dipping the parsley or whatever, the celery, in the water with salt to remind of the tears, that's the one that washed his hands. But us, we took it a little bit from the side, so we didn't wash the hands. But nowadays, because there is a big chance that it's wet, so we all wash the hands, okay? So it's not like washing for motzi, but somehow it's not known in the world of today. What you do see, you see people that wash an apple from all the things that they put on top of it, that the insect shouldn't come, and then they dry it. The concept is the same, that you don't eat it when it's wet. But at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, it wouldn't have helped, because the water was conductive of tumah. Some of the liquids are water and honey and milk and blood and oil. 7 of them, and that's why the rechatz. So there is nothing more. Rechatz takes 3 minutes. Kadesh Urchatz, karpas is usually celery or parsley green, because karpas reminds of green, but nowadays they do it as well with with little radishes, which is reddish, which is red, radishes with an A, and it's red with an E, and they do it even with potatoes, because anything which is adoma, and when we say the brocha of adoma, we have to think of the moror, which will be after motzi, where we won't make a brocha. So we have to have in mind as well, but I'm not going in depth into the halachas, that's not my subject. Yachatz is the concept of cutting the middle matzah. You have 3 matzahs, right? So the middle matzah is cut in 2, with the big part not cut exactly equal, but one piece bigger than the other. The bigger piece is for the afikoman, the smaller piece is put back in the middle, and it's very strange, they say in all Haggadahs, and later on when we'll do the motzi, we'll give a piece of this to the people, but it doesn't help, because it's very, very far from kezais, even if we don't have so many people. So it's just a custom, we give a little bit of this, plus a matzah from the box or from whatever. And this is yachatz, and then we get to Magid, okay? Which is a whole Haggadah from Halach Ma'anya, Manishtana, and the beginning of the answers. One beginning of the answer is Avadim Hayinu Lefaro B'Mitzrayim. The other one in the middle is when we begin with the ancestry of Avraham Avinu, Terach, who was idol worshipper, Avram, etc., etc. 2 beginnings, which we'll talk about it. And then we have Rachza. And in not all the Aggodas it says Rachza. Some say Rachatz, and most Aggodas say Rachza, which is with a hey, which looks like more feminine, for a feminine form. And that's when everybody washes their hands, and they are going to make a lot of brochas. They're going to say Al Netilas Yodoim. They are going normal. Then they are going to say Amotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. Why not Matzah Min Haaretz? Because it was called Lechem Oni, with 3 explanations. Oni comes from poverty. Oni comes from inui, which is suffering. And Oni, it comes from la'anot, to answer. So we have three reasons why it's called lechem oni, ayin nun yud, or ayin nun hey, or whatever. One is poverty. Some say because they ate it already in Egypt. The Egyptians were very clever, and they gave us matzahs, which are hard, which are terrible, and which take longer to digest, so the people feel the hunger less, and one didn't have to give them more food, so it didn't cost them so much. We could really think of the hostages of today, where they give them rice sometimes, or just cucumbers. Cucumber is like water, but rice keeps. Before a tzom, we eat rice because it keeps in the stomach. It's not that it has a lot of value, but you don't scream hunger as fast. So that's oni. Lechem she'onim alav, why matzah and not lechem? That's the children, that's clear. And inui, it was bread that reminds us of the suffering in Egypt. So that's why we say hamotzi lechem ner. But we say another broche, and that's why the next one after rachat is motzi matzah, because we have one hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and the other one is al achilat matzah. It's the only night that we do it, not the whole of Pesach bichlal. The night of the Seder, it's the oraisa, the only one which is the oraisa. There are other things which are the oraisa, like Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim, but the moror or Arba Kosot is the Rabbanon. And the first kezais of matzah is the oraisa, and that's why we have a special broche, Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah, and that's why in the Seder of the night we call it motzi matzah. Motzi is the first broche, and matzah is the second broche. Then we have the moror, which everybody knows. It used to be horseradish everywhere. When they became more Talmidei Chachomim and they realized that it's more important than how bitter it is, we have to have a kezais of it, at least. So therefore it became something which can be eaten. Nowadays, Baruch Hashem, we have all those salads which are what they call gush katif, even though we don't have gush katif anymore, but which are planted in a way that there are no worms or no little animals, but it still has to be washed with soap and everything, because you could have tiny flies that go into it or whatever. And some people have the custom to put a little bit of horseradish on it as well, on that salad, on that Roman lettuce or whatever. And French people put endives. Everybody puts something which seems to be a little bit bitter. And because the horseradish, if you eat a whole kezais, you are coughing for half an hour, your neshama goes out. So that's why it's not lechatchila. Why Roman lettuce? Very interesting, because at the beginning, when you begin eating it, it's very, very good. But when you get to the root, I like it, dafka. But the root, if you clean it well, if you peel it well, some people throw it. They think it's not salad, but no, keep it, because it's easier to make kezais out of it, the weight, and it's a little bit bitter. So at the beginning it's soft, and afterwards it's bitter. Exactly like we say that Paro forced the Jews to work. Befarech means cruelly. And Rashi says men doing the work of women, women doing the work of men. The concept being the myth of Sisyphus, that things that don't make sense just to make us suffer. There is a very famous story about a guy that they forced to turn a wheel of like in Holland, you know, they have those windmills, and it's very, very hard. And he did it 10 hours a day for years, knowing that on the other side it gives water to all the houses, or it grinds flour. And one day they broke the wall, and he saw that he was doing it for nothing. And at that moment he died, because a person needs a sense of purpose. Right? Men in search of meaning, Viktor Frankl, if you have a purpose in life and meaning, that's why we ask ourselves sometimes the famous question, how, with the terrible matzav of nowadays, we know that it's a tahalich, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what he's doing, that we're going towards Mashiach, towards, I don't know if it's Gog or Magog or peace in the world, whichever, but we know that it has a meaning. And the people that don't believe in anything, we ask ourselves, how do they do it? How do they manage to do it, right? So when a person senses that there is no purpose, that's exactly parech. Parech means stupid work, work that has no thing. There is a joke in Russia at the time of communism. How do you call what you make with a tractor? You on the side there is sand and there is earth, and in the middle it's empty, so that you can put seeds in it. How do you call it?
Well, you plow furrows into the
furrows. Exactly, it's furrows. So there is a joke by the time of the communism. That's why it didn't keep, because it's anti-nature of human beings, and people can't live with communism for a lifetime. It's not a question of equality. It's a question of no. A person needs to feel that he succeeds when he works more, or that he's this or he's that. And the joke goes that one guy is made to make the first earth, the second one to make the furrow, and the third one to make again the thing, so that there should be the furrow. And in the furrow, you have to put seeds. So the first one is making the furrow, the second one is putting the seed in, and the third one is closing it. And one day, somebody came and saw that they open it and they reclose it. They open it and they reclose it. So they do nothing. So he says, why do you do this? Because the guy that is putting the seeds didn't come today. So it's meant to be a joke, but it's a very deep joke, because it's not a joke. It's parech. Parech is when it makes no sense. Not only is it hard, but it makes no sense. The Midrash says that parech is like Pesach. Pesach, the mouth speaks once you become free. And parech is perach. Perach is mouth soft. At the beginning, Paro tried to seduce us to work for Egypt. Like at the very beginning, even Hitler and people like that were speaking about make weapons and not butter. You know, we are going to win the world and we are going to conquer the whole world. So people were excited and worked for him. And Letzarenu, even some Yidden thought that they would be saved through this. And that was the biggest cruelty, that even the capos and all these people, after they sold their neshama and did horrible things, they were killed anyway. So, Perach, that's what Pharaoh did. At the beginning, he wanted volunteers, and afterwards, he closed them into concentration camps. And they became slaves for so many years. So that's Perach. It means it's soft at the beginning, hard at the end, and that's what the Meforshim think that this type of salad, the Roman salad, at the beginning, the yellow leaves are very soft, very nice, even a bit sugared, but when you go deeper into it, it's very, very cruel and horrible and bitter. Okay, so that's maror. Korech is what they did at the time of Hillel, and that's why we nowadays, we don't put the Korban Pesach, because we don't have it. And that's why it's important to understand that we don't say Korban Pesach, we speak about the Zecher of the Korban Pesach, not the Korban Pesach itself. And we only have matzah and maror dipped into the charoses as well. Shulchan Orech is setting the table and eating. Tzafun means hidden, it's the end of the afikoman, after which we don't eat anymore. It has to stay with the taste of the afikoman. If we have in mind to take a glass of water or a pea or a cup of tea, we are allowed. Barech is benching. Hallel is the second part of the benching. And Mirza is that beautiful piece where everybody wakes up again, which are all the songs, like from Echad Yodea to Echad, from Echad Yodea to Til Chad Gadya, Til Adiru, and all those songs. Okay, that's the Pshat. Now, many Meforshim have spoken about this, and every year I love it. I speak about the Chasam Sofer. The only one that I think that heard me already on it is Brenda. So I'm sure that Brenda can give the class instead of me.
Told you already that I always forget. So it's very
I was waiting for you to say it, but even if you didn't forget, it's nice to hear it again. So the Chasam Sofer speaks about, Rav Dessler, much later than the Chasam Sofer, speaks about the importance of Seder. Seder in your head, Seder in your life, Seder. And I'm not going into it, but it's very, very interesting. It's based on the Seder in the desert of the Shvatim, how they went when they traveled and how they went when the camp was placed with a Mishkan in the middle and which tribe where, the concept of Seder. The famous story of the Rashaz, Rav Simcha Zissel Mikelm, who went to visit his son. The son was in the middle of Shir, he didn't want to disturb. He decided that he wanted to see his room. And when he saw the room, he saw that the bed was made and that the shoes were next to each other and not one here and one there. The same with the slippers. He said, I don't have to see my son anymore. It's not 100% true. You have people that don't have time and don't have a lot of Seder in the house and do have Seder in their head. For example, me. I don't have time. Very often I have balagan in my house. But, if you don't have help from the outside and if you're busy 8 hours a day, so but it's the truth is that Seder gives a lot of menuchat hanefesh. And I told you already, I got a postcard. In those days, they had postcards from a friend. We had very high-level conversations, and there was a beautiful painting of Van Gogh with two shoes next to each other. So the first postcard I got from her was this, and she wrote on the other side, "Hamaskil Yavin," meaning those that want to understand will understand. It was based on the concept of Seder. And then the next time, I got a beautiful explanation of something, and the postcard had a valley and beautiful mountains. And she wrote on the other side, Mi Chidushe Harim le'emek davar. So the Chidushe Harim is the mountains, the top of the mountains, Harim, and this is the grandfather of the Shasemes, and the Emek Davar is the Netziv, Rav Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, but Emek Davar means the depth of the valley, okay? So you see...
Chidushe Harim had a yahrzeit this week.
The what? The Chidushe Harim, right, absolutely. There are a lot of people who are teaching about this, were teaching the Shasemes, because most of what the Shasemes has, he was an orphan, and his grandfather brought him up and came from the Chidushe Harim, but without the Shasemes, we wouldn't have anything from the Chidushe Harim. And very often he writes, my grandfather taught me, said to me, etc., etc., etc. So that's the Chidushe Harim, nachon. But the play on word is mi Chidushe Harim le'emek davar, or mi emek davar le'chidushe harim, whatever. So this is how we used to talk. Can you imagine? We were very idealistic. We were 18 years old. It goes away. But the Chasam Sofer, based on this idea of Seder, and on the idea that if a good teacher teaches, it should say at the beginning what he's going to do. We are going to talk about Pesach. The first thing we are going to do is to study the announcement of Leil HaSeder, of the Seder of the evening. Then you know where you're up to and everything. Because if you don't say what you're going to do, so then people don't know what to expect, and very often they don't know. This is in Chinuch. The same thing with the children. Children, today we are going to do this and that and that. We're going to clean the fridge, we're going to clean the oven, and we are going to go for an ice cream, whatever. So the children know what to expect. This is the concept of Seder, okay? But based on this idea, the Chasam Sofer says, beautiful, that this Seder of 15 words, 15 because Yud and Hey, the Shem Hashem, is 15, etc. And he says that it's a Seder of a lifetime, which the Baal HaGoda is telling us here. Baal HaGoda means many people. It means people of the time of the Mishnah, because a big part of the Agoda is Mishnayot or Chumash. Just the difference is that it's explained. It's as if I have a Chumash or a Mishnah, but explained. So it's fantastic. It's very good. Never say that you don't know any Mishnayot by heart. If men make fun of you, or children or grandchildren, Safta, do you know Mishnayot? You can say yes. Because if I would open for you a Mishnah on Psochim, you would realize that half of the Agoda is in it. They didn't invent anything. They put together. You have a lot of the Agoda, which is in Mishnah. And then you have a lot of quotations of Chumash. But what he does, he puts it together and explains it. And I'll show it to you, for example, with the 4 sons, that it's really an explanation. It's brilliant. Okay? So Kadesh is Kedusha and Rechatz is washing. And the question that comes out, says the Chasam Sofer, is why do we have sanctifying oneself before washing oneself? You have Tahara before Kedusha. Always. Because Tahara, you first you wash yourself and then you put perfume. You don't first put perfume and then wash it. So it should be Rechatz before Kadesh. Should be Rechatz, wash your hands, and then Kadesh, make Kiddush. By the way, before davening Mincha, before Kiddush, a lot of times, I don't know what I touched. I don't know if I touched parts that shouldn't be touched, shoes or whatever. So very often we wash the hands before davening. In front of the kotel, you have faucets and you have water to wash. Somebody checks if he has to go to the bathroom. So why isn't it Rechatz before Kadesh? Says the Chasam Sofer. Because if we would have Rechatz before Kadesh, a person would think that he has to totally purify himself before he can bichlal begin having a life of Kedusha. Meaning Rechatz has a connotation of something negative, to take off. You take off the dirt, you take off the tum'ah. And if you do this, you'll never finish. Am I totally clean already, clean spiritually? No. So do I know everything because I am a teacher? No. Because if not, I'll never become a teacher. I don't know everything. And am I prepared for marriage and for educating children before? I wouldn't marry at 60 years old either. We make mistakes. We do it before. So says the Chasam Sofer, it's a hint that a person should parallel to trying to cleanse himself, he should already do positive things towards Kedusha.
It's very interesting because it says Sur Merav Aseh Tov. And there are all sorts of drushes on that, on what that means exactly. First the Sur Merah.
It's excellent. It says Sur Merav Aseh Tov. So Yaakov Avinu, like you heard this week, so many explanations on the twisting the hands. But Menashe has a negative connotation. Hashem Nashani made me forget my home. And Ephraim comes from Pri. He made me fruitful. So to make me fruitful is adding something. It's like Kedusha. Nashani is take off. It's like Tumah. So one of the things that Yaakov wanted to teach Yosef, when he continued teaching him what he had learned by Shem Ve'ever, which is, says Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, the Torah of Galut, especially in Galut, where we are confronted all the time with Tum'ah, is that don't wait to finish the job of Sur Merah before you do Aseh Tov, because it's tragic. You'll never do it. But parallel to Sur Merah, which is so important, do already a little bit of Aseh Tov. And I always bring the ideas. When I was a kid, when I was 16, 17, I was volunteering in France. I was always into Kiruv from the youngest age before it was on fashion. And I remember that there were boys who had learned in very, very high Harvard, Yale, in France. So it's the same, but parallel to this Polytechnic and all these. And for them, but they didn't know to read even Hebrew. They were hidden totally. So there was a rabbi who was brilliant. And instead of telling them, okay, first you learn to read and to write, then you learn Rashi, then you go to Yeshiva for 3 years, then, those guys had been in a world of kavod, because in Chol they were brilliant. So what he made them do is to learn, I say it always in a funny way, to learn to read till Kaf, and to teach it to people that know less till Yud. Meaning, as soon as they knew a little bit, he made them get it out. So he made that the Sur Merah of ignorance should be helped by the Aseh Tov immediately, so that they should feel good, that they know more than the one that knows even less. You understand? So Kadesh Urchatz is in life. So Yaakov is twisting his hands to show, don't do just the Nashani Menashe totally, and then only you get into Ephraim. But when you twist your hands, You're doing both at the same time. It's not that Ephraim is before, of course not, but it's at the same time. Is it clear to everybody? Did everybody understand the explanation? I need answers before I
Yeah,
go
I
further.
hear you, yeah.
Yeah, Miriam?
Yeah.
Miriam, you're with me?
Yes, I understand. It takes me a very long time to turn on my microphone. So I don't usually bother.
Everybody else?
Why?
Yeah, I understand.
If not,
Yeah.
you ask me and I go on.
I'm good.
Okay. So Kadesh Orachatz. Karpas Yachatz. It goes each time too. And it's so beautiful. Karpas, when we were describing Megillat Esther in the first perek, Chur Karpas Utrelet, Achuz Bechad Lebutz Vergaman, Al Gelile Kesef, Mitot Zahav, etc., etc. We are speaking about luxury. Big luxury. Esther went into a world of gashmias and everything is kitsch, and silver and gold and beautiful materials and everything. So karpas in notricon, meaning when you make two words out of one, Eliezer Damesek, dole umashke miTorah rabo leacherim. He was drawing the Torah of his master and pouring it to others. And that's the Damesek. Dole umashke. It goes with the letters. It's not gematria, it's not numerical value, but it's playing with the verb. Okay? So karpas is karim shel pasim. Karim is pillows, and pasim is many, many colors, like the kutonet pasim, very, very luxurious. Karpas, in order to understand what was Mitzrayim, you have to a little bit go down in your luxury. Karpas yachatz, you cut it in two. Take half of what you're meant to be. Karpas yachatz, the karpas, the luxury that a person gets involved with to a point of it's a busha, I mean, nothing better to do than to want even more and more and more and non-stop. Yachatz, cut it in two. Because yachatz, we cut the matzah in two. Okay?
It's very interesting because, I mean, it's just an allusion. We're not supposed to eat a kazayas of karpas. We have to cut the karpas that it should be less than a kazayas.
Nice. Because usually, the karpas is, in most forim, we said last time, 2 weeks ago, the karpas, why do you dip some vegetable in water with salt? So that the children should ask questions. I was never, at 6 years old, I was really not happy from this answer. Because why don't they tell you to do other shtuyat? Why dafka this? I mean, there must be more reason. And the answer is that karpas, dafka, by eating only a little bit, you give a taste, but you don't finish. You eat less than a kazais. The halachic reason is because of the bracha acharona. It's different, bracha acharona. But the spiritual answer is because an appetizer is eating a little bit. If at a smorgasbord or whatever, at an aperitif, you eat a lot, there is no sense. Then you won't eat at the meal anymore. But if you have something a bit salty, one cracker with a little bit of herring, or one this or one that, a little bit, it gives you cheshek. And Moshe Rabbeinu had to awaken their will because they were already verschlafen from 210 years. They already didn't want to move, didn't want to change. They were so afraid. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, hello guys, what about being saved? And that gave them cheshek, and then Moshe Rabbeinu disappeared for a long time. So the karpas comes to eat a little bit, and then he disappears. Then the meal disappears. And like the story of Rav Nachman Mibresla, which we mentioned. And then nothing is happening, you don't eat. So that's the usual drash on karpas. Now you say something else. Since karpas yachatz is to take the luxury, which is karpas, karim shel pasim, into yachatz, cut it in two. Don't press around. Don't eat a lot of karpas. Eat only a little bit. Suffice yourself with a little bit. When a brocha was given to the Kohanim, the brocha wasn't that they would be getting double or triple portion, but that they would be satisfied with little. Alevai on all of us, that's what pills to lose weight, which are very unhealthy, but pills to lose weight are doing. They are giving you a feeling that you ate more, so you eat a little bit and you're satisfied already. Okay? So הלוואי, okay? So karpas yachat. Magid, once says the Chatam Sofer, you did this, so you purified yourself, you sanctified yourself, you did it in the other order because of what we learned, and then you cut the luxury in two because we are now imagining coming out of Egypt, etc., etc. So then we won't fall into the trap of wanting meat in the desert, slave, and regretting the cucumber of Egypt and everything. And then we have Magid. Magid is already speaking to the others. Once we have interiorating in lehafnim, pnimi, all these ideas, Magid, now we have to tell it to others. We have to begin doing kiruv to other people, to explain. The whole evening is to explain to others. Magid, but rachtsa. We have to tell it, but when you tell to people that know less, and the whole Seder is children who know less, or Balit Tshuva, or people that are interested, or people that don't have a Seder themselves. Rachtsa, you do it in a soft way. You don't tell them to purify themselves like Chatz, that you do to yourself. You say Rachtsa in a feminine way, in a more soft way. It's interesting, huh? That's why Rachtsa. It's like, like it would be with the four sons. At petachlo, not all Haggadahs, but most, that the woman should speak to the child. We'll speak about it. Okay, so that's rachtza. And then motzi matzah. Matzah is like masa umeriva. Matzah can mean fights, can mean anger, can mean machlokot. Nitzim, nitzavim, all these words is matzah. So motzi matzah, in order to have hashpor on others, you have to have a harmonious coming. Where I invite people for Pesach, and I'm fighting with my husband, and I'm screaming at my kids, and I say beautiful perushim, forget it. Nothing will go in. I have a harmonious house. Everything seems to flow. It's nice, and if something breaks, nobody gets angry, and if something pours, nobody gets upset. And it's nice. Motzi matzah. If you want to have hashpor, it's this that is going. I went to a very big seminar, and at the end of the seminar, people totally fry. And I was from the speakers and as well from the people that after the speeches, which were very heavy and everything, the people would schmooze and eat till 3 a.m. And we were around like the policemen dressed in civilian, as if I'm part of the people, but to begin a conversation and to explain them again and to see that they are not running away, etc., etc. And last day, there is something very, very moving. There is a symposium where people come to the Bama and to the front and they say what they got from the seminar. And then you have people that say, it was so moving that I decided that I'm throwing my dishes and buying new dishes. Another one that is going to be kosher. Another one is going to begin Shabbos. Another one asking our phone numbers. Beautiful, beautiful. Not everybody, but many, many, many people. And then they said, and what impressed you most in the people, in the teachers, in the martzim? And one of the things, I think I told it to you already, there were a lot of people, so many people that I don't know if we had enough of everything. So when it came to, at the end of the meal, there was in a little cup, but with a lid, there was ice cream. So every time they gave me, because of kavod, the teachers, ice cream, I looked around and I saw somebody that didn't get it yet, or people that came with children and the children were all upset they did. I was passing the ice cream that I got. I'll eat ice cream in my house. I don't care. Now I want the people to be happy because the Gashmias help the Ruchnias. So I gave the ice cream all the time, but I didn't realize that somebody was looking at me. And when he spoke, I was so shy, so ashamed. He said what impressed him, he didn't remember a word of what I told. Oh, Ramban didn't help him, nothing helped him. He said the fact that I didn't take the ice cream for myself, but that I checked that everybody gets ice cream, and in the end there wasn't enough ice cream for me, this is what made him decide to become free. So you see, chaval al seminar, chaval al all those shiurim, we just have to be nice guys. So that's what it says, motzi matzah. You understand? It's so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. This is years and years and years ago. But it taught me how we, as Frume Yidden, have to make a Kiddush Hashem constantly because we are looked at with magnifying glass. And when people say, Achilonim gam lo osim, so what? That's why they're Chilonim and we're not. We have to realize that they are looking at us with magnifying glass, and the Chilul Hashem that we do can't be forgiven. So that's why we have to, that's Motzi Matzah, to have a, that's the Chatam Sofer. Maror Korech. Maror. Every person, am I finished? Am I too? No, I'm trying to do, you remember it slowly when I say it, Brenda? From other years, a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
It's very, very nice. It's a tochnit for a lifetime. That's what he says, the Chatam Sofer. Now, maror korech, the bitterness, put it in a sandwich. What does it mean? You have a girl that forced her parents are not religious or less religious, or she dreams to learn a year of pure Kodesh. And she goes, and she comes back, and she's constantly crying, and she's in her room, and she has strong pimples, and you see that she's nervous, and she's eating her nails, and she doesn't have really conversation with her parents or anything. She's forbittered. She, perhaps because she's doing a too strong tshuva, perhaps whatever. Do you think her parents are happy they sent her to seminar? They're absolutely regretting. Maror korech. We all have difficult times, but for the other people, Kal vachomer in that case for her parents, if she comes back, she's more kibudorim than before. She looks happy. She's more in her skin. She's more in her body. She helps and she talks about things with a lot of not sugar, but with happiness, with explaining how it's interesting, etc., etc. Go for a second year, my daughter. Finally, I get the kibudorim I deserve my whole life. And now you get it, so go for another year, my daughter. You understand what I'm saying? Maror korech. If as frum people, we constantly complain, so we don't give a cheshek to become frum, or to be better, or to learn, or to, if a young woman works for her husband who learns very hard and is idealistic, and he comes back every day upset, and he doesn't like his learning, she loses the koach to do it. But if he comes back happy and thanking her that he can learn, and now he feels that he's doing Ratzon Hashem, he gives her all the koach in the world. You understand the idea of maror korech? It's a beautiful idea. You have to be very, very careful. We have to show happiness. We have to show, and we all have difficult times, but that's not for everybody. Da'aga belevish yesichena. It's a pasuk in Mishle. You are allowed to take one friend and to tell your problems, because we need to talk. We have a need to talk, but not everything. Atkan, is it clear? Okay, maror korech. Now we have shulchan orech. When all this is done, so the first part is what we work on ourselves. The second part is what we do for others. If we do all this, then we have shulchan orech. We'll get all of olam hazeh. Because whether we have a lot or little, we'll be happy with what we have. We won't have jealousy, and we'll be satisfied with what we have. Again, the brocha of the Kohanim is not that they'll have a lot, or that they'll be rich, but they'll be satisfied. Hashem will make that the food that they eat will satisfy their belly, that what they get will satisfy them. They won't look at what the other one has in Gashmis. Shulchan orech, he'll have a shulchan, a perfect table set. And then, if that's the case, so then we have all the brochas. Tzafun is the hidden part, because en habracha metzuya ela bedavar hasamui min ha'ayin. The real brocha is when people don't know about it. The first luchot were the pumbi, were too public, and they got broken. And the second luchot were done more quietly, and they held until today. Barech, who get a brocha, it exactly works with tzafun barech. And then we'll have the purpose of the whole night is to be mehalel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because when we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when we praise Hashem, then we get the midah for which the whole Leil Seder is there. You tell me, what is the midah, the quality, the good quality, which is the most developed through the Leil HaSeder? You tell me. Anybody has an idea?
I don't understand the question.
Very good. So I'll ask again. We do the whole Leila Seder with all the minhagim and all the things that we do, Sfardim more, Ashkenazim less, but beautiful things, and we teach the children and everything. And the midah tova that we have to develop mostly through the Leila Seder is which?
Patience.
So it's true. Nothing that you'll say is wrong, but that's not what I want. Patience. Somebody else said kaas, because I said that if the wine pours, you don't scream. Nachon, it's all true. Patience, because we teach the children, and as well not to have kaas. What else? Something much more general, which is really the purpose of the whole Leila Seder.
I'm sorry, I missed a minute because my granddaughter called me, so I had to. So, can you just say in a minute what you said?
What is the midah tova that we develop the most, or that we have to develop? The way the Seder is made is to teach us a certain midah tova. So somebody answered patience, because we teach the children. Somebody said, somebody told me kaas, because we shouldn't scream if something falls, or to manage not to have taiva because the meal is late. All times it's true, but there is something much more.
I think hakora satov.
Excellent. This is the answer. Hakora satov, and that will be highly developed. For example, in the Dayenu, because the Dayenu is very funny. If he would have taken us out of Egypt, but not opened the sea, for example, so the Egyptians would have gotten us and killed us. So why do we say Dayan? Would have been enough. And if he would have brought us to Har Sinai, but not given the Torah, why do I care being next to Har Sinai? So of course, one answer is that already being next to Har Sinai was such kedusha, because it's Har Sinai, another because it's a small mountain and everything. But it's funny, all these, it would have been enough. And the answer is, it would have been enough to have to say thank you. It's not it would have been enough, but it would have been enough to say thank you. And why? Because when we get something, we have to say not just a vague thank you, or thank you through somebody else, but we have to develop it, to say, you know, what you sent me was so nice. The little head of the baby helped me for his breath. The pants was exactly what I needed. The top was so beautiful, with some kishkushim that one doesn't even see when it gets dirty. And it was just his size, and. And when you have children, you say, you do your house, till tonight you have to do your house, your room for Pesach, and then you get, I don't know what. And the child does it, and he says, I finished, mommy, come and see. Oh, great, beautiful, bye. Oy vavoy. You swept? And you made sponja, and you changed the sheets, and you put the first sheets in the washing machine, and you made another bed, and you cleaned your toys as well, and you put them away, and the child is beaming. And it's very important. Or he shows you pictures that he made, and you say, very nice. And he sees that you didn't even look. But what does this, and you don't even say it's marvelous. What is this? So he'll show you a circle and he'll tell you that it's a beautiful tree. I don't care what he'll say. And he'll show you the sun and he'll tell you that it's a moon. I don't care, but you show that you look at the details. Because when you look at the details, you appreciate more things. Thank you, Hashem, for making me healthy. Thank you, Hashem. Why don't we say one brocha in the morning? Malbisharumim, matirasum, da, so many. Why don't we say, thank you, Hashem, for being alive? No, I'll call neshima uneshima. On every breath we have to thank you. A dayen would have been enough to, why? Because it gets us close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the purpose is to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the purpose is to be happy. And when we feel the closeness with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it makes us happy, even if things are hard. You understand? This is the purpose of Leila Seder. Why are we called Yehudim and not Reuvenim, Shimonim, Leviim? Yeah? Why are we called Yehudim? Because of Lehodot. Because Lehodot brings us close to him in the details. Okay? So that's Hallel. Hallel is a type of praising and thanking. And When all this is done, then we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu one more thing. Like we say in Shmona Esrei, Rotzeh. You're so big, so everywhere, so eternal. You're interested in my little prayer. I am not even like an ant compared to you. I'm nothing compared to you. No, but I am something because every person is important to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We want to be wanted. Nirtza, a person likes to be wanted. If he feels necessary for others, if he feels wanted, it's Gevaldi. And that's what we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rotzeh Hashem, in Shmona Esrei, in the Amidah. We want you to want us, to give us a feeling that we want us. And that's why he says, Koneh Hakol. He doesn't need anything, but he gives you a feeling through the mitzvahs that when you do the mitzvahs, it gives him nachat ruach. Hashem needs something? He doesn't need because he's eternal. Eternal plus a million is still eternal. Infinite plus a million is still infinite. And eternal plus 2 days is still eternal. It doesn't. So Nirtza is the end, and that's how we finish the Seder. And some people that have the koyach, they read Shir Hashirim, which is really a song of love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, so this is the Chasam Sofer and the program for life.